Hello viewers, a very warm welcome back to Duflux. In this video, I am going to discuss the detailed analysis of paper 2 electrical engineering of UPSC ESE 2025 that was conducted a few days ago on June 8, 2025. In my last video, I discussed the analysis of paper 1, that is demonstration engineering aptitude, that is common to all the 4 students, starts with the common. ये इलेक्ट्रिकल इंजीनियरिंग स्पेसिफिक हैशटैग के स्पेसिफिक है. तो चलिए शुरू करते हैं एनालिसिस को. स्टार्ट एनालिसिस. This is paper 2 electrical engineering with subjects. 12 subjects are there, which are divided into 2 papers for mains, and all the 12 subjects are there in a single paper and prelims. This is paper 2. So हम डिस्कस इसका अभी इसका एनालिसिस करेंगे. स्टार्ट करते हैं फर्स्ट सब्जेक्ट से. फर्स्ट सब्जेक्ट जिसमें प्रायोरिटी था इस बार आपका 12 क्वेश्चंस का. This is 150 questions and 300 marks. This is better. 2 marks each. 80 marks is 12. Okay. So let's start with the discussion. Subject please. First subject है engineering mathematics. तो इंजीनियरिंग मैथमेटिक्स से बेसिकली 12 क्वेश्चन है, 12 क्वेश्चंस के अंदर. क्वेश्चंस were from various topics like linear equations, orthogonal trajectory, line integral, Gauss divergence theorem, Fourier series expansion, differential equations. Most of them are partial differential equations, complex integral, Cauchy's residue theorem, normal distribution, all. Total 12 questions were there, which I think were a bit on the tougher side. So I would rate them because generally in GATE we don't encounter such topics of such difficult levels, like partial differential equations, the Gauss divergence theorem, line integral, also not that easy. बहुत सिंपल नहीं थे, एक लाइन में सॉल्व करने वाला नहीं था, थोड़ा कॉम्प्लिकेट था, जो कि इतना सारे क्वेश्चंस के बीच में मुश्किल है टाइम मैनेज करना. मेरे हिसाब से ये होगा टफ और डिफिकल्ट. कम टू नेक्स्ट सब्जेक्ट. नेक्स्ट सब्जेक्ट इलेक्ट्रिकल मटेरियल्स. इलेक्ट्रिकल मटेरियल से कितने क्वेश्चंस आते हैं? 14 क्वेश्चंस हैं. आउट ऑफ them 2 were 12 were MCQ and 2 were statement based. Out of the MCQ questions there were several topics distributed, well distributed था. बेसिकली बहुत सारे टॉपिक्स था, डिस्ट्रीब्यूटेड था. जैसे FCC क्रिस्टल का पैकिंग फ्रैक्शन उससे पूछा था. फिर एडी करंट हिस्टैरिसीस लॉस का जो होता है, हाउ इज इट रिलेटेड टू फ्रीक्वेंसी, बेस्ड ऑन दैट. अदर मैग्नेटिक मटेरियल्स लाइक फेरोमैग्नेटिक, डायमैग्नेटिक, स्पिन. डायमैग्नेटिक स्पिन इज कंट्रीब्यूटेड बाय व्हाट. Then questions were there from force density, saturation magnetization, and Fermi level, then threshold frequency of metals, then Meissner effect, at which magnetic field becomes zero. Then statement based questions. These are for MCQ questions. Statement based questions were basically asked from the insulation resistivity, and then resistivity of ferrites, all those things. So mostly they were theoretical. It was I think easy to moderate because they were theoretical, theory based, fact based, and some were numerical. But numerical was a bit difficult to calculate. वैसे मुश्किल था कैलकुलेशन, लेकिन जो थ्योरी था वो एकदम स्ट्रेट फॉरवर्ड था. अगर पता है तो सही से हो जाना चाहिए सॉल्व. तो ये हो गया इलेक्ट्रिकल मटेरियल्स का. कमिंग टू नेक्स्ट सब्जेक्ट. 12 subjects are there. We already got 2. Next subject is electric circuits. Electric circuits. Some questions from 12 I think. Yeah. All were MCQ. These were all MCQ. These were all MCQ. Yeah. So 12 questions came from different topics like linearly independent mesh equations, Norton's theorem, maximum power transfer theorem, all those things. Then balance three-phase networks, circuits, series RL circuit, ideal voltage source, right? Energy storage, then symmetrical network are the conditions in terms of two-port parameters, then quality factors, charge sharing on capacitor is connected in series, and charge on capacitor is connected in series, all those things. Yeah. So basically it was on the easier side because questions were very direct questions, and more or less it is already studied well for the GATE aspirants. थोड़ा सा आसान रहता है, तो in my opinion it was easy. As the questions were direct and the questions which were calculated, those were also calculations बहुत ज़्यादा नहीं था, बहुत ही आसान से सवाल थे, बेसिक सवाल थे. तो ये हो गया थर्ड सब्जेक्ट इलेक्ट्रिक सर्किट्स एंड फील्ड्स. अब आते हैं चौथे सब्जेक्ट जो कि है आपका इलेक्ट्रिकल एंड इलेक्ट्रॉनिक मेजरमेंट्स. इससे भी कितना सवाल आया था, आई थिंक 12 आया था, 12 सवाल आए थे और MCQ थे. Questions were various topics like standards followed, what are the standards, international standards and all, accuracy, percentage accuracy, one question was there. Then on loading effect, basic PMMC coil mechanism, then FDM, then there was potential transformer question, PT was there. What kind of application PT is used, like high voltage lines, step down voltage, and output watt, based on output wattmeter, nominal ratio for the CT, then active definition nominal ratio for CT, active transducers, LVDT, force summing devices, inverse transducer like piezoelectric crystal. So basic, it's also basic in my opinion. Very direct questions, mostly theoretical, one or two numerical. Those are also very easy calculation based, very easy calculation, very simple. In my opinion, this was easy. Coming to the next subject, कितना हो गया सब्जेक्ट? 4 हो गया, 12 में से 12 we have already covered 4. So let's this will do next. Yeah. So next, coming on to the next subject is computer fundamentals. Computer fundamentals is a subject which is not covered by GATE aspirants in that much depth because it is not in GATE, not included in GATE. So ये थोड़ा सा weak point रहता है GATE aspirants का. लेकिन इस बार जैसे question 13 questions are there, out of them 12 were MCQs and almost statement based. So yeah, computer fundamentals questions were there from product of sum, then what is the operator, what are the operators in C++, that question mark operator, then fetching instructions from memory and execution, floppy disk storage, control bus, access time of memory, and TFT, what does TFT stand for, thin film transistor, low level software that should do tasks, allocate storage, interface to peripheral hardware, generation of time delay, what is responsible, programmable time counter, something like that. Wrapping of data and functions, what is called encapsulation, and file operations is SEEP and all, compiler, like what is responsible for translating code into machine language and execution, it will compiler basically. And statements like computers, control unit, functions, it was a statement based. So it was, in my opinion, moderate because the aspirants were studied in that much depth, but the questions were a bit on the easier side this time, I felt, because no very difficult questions were asked. Such difficult questions were asked. If basic understanding is there, you will be able to answer at least maybe 8 or 9 correctly out of the 13. So even if you are not preparing that much depth, if you have the basics right in your +2 level or say in engineering, then you will be able to get more difficult questions right. Unlike other years, दूसरे साल में ऐसा नहीं होता है, अच्छे से नहीं पढ़ने से बहुत सारे क्वेश्चंस अलग ही तरह का होता है, लेकिन इस बार जनरल ज़्यादा क्वेश्चन आते हैं, तो इसमें मेरे हिसाब से मॉडर्न है. 13 क्वेश्चन आते हैं, 12 MCQ, 1 statement based, and overall total it was moderate. Next subject, basic electronics engineering. Basic electronics engineering से कितना क्वेश्चंस था? 12th इसमें as well MCQ. Questions were from diverse topics like yeah, they were from like leakage current, ICO, and what is the energy level of valence electrons, ripple of half wave rectified wave, is it higher or lower than full wave rectified? Obviously it's higher. Then the rise time versus bandwidth relation, 0.35 their product, that thing was there. JFET, the drain current was asked, feedback networks basics, buffer is buffer amplifier. Amplifier behavior is gain is influenced by coupling capacitor, all those things. Hybrid parameters, why are they called hybrid? Gain with feedback, RFC, radio frequency choke, LC oscillator, sinusoidal oscillator. So basic questions are asked, but the electrical aspirants को study that much थोड़ा अच्छे से नहीं पढ़ते हैं सब्जेक्ट को. तो मेरे हिसाब से ये भी मॉडरेट था. उस क्वेश्चंस में थोड़ा क्लैरिटी का इतना नहीं था. But calculations were not that much. Straightforward questions were only there, theory based mostly. So still I would rate it moderate because some of the questions were not that easy to tackle. Many of the aspirants may not have studied it. और लोग इसे तो पढ़ते ही नहीं अपने से सब्जेक्ट को. तो मेरे हिसाब से moderate क्वेश्चंस हैं कोई और MCQs. हम लोग नेक्स्ट सब्जेक्ट आगे बढ़ते हैं नेक्स्ट सब्जेक्ट पे. इसके बाद जो सब्जेक्ट हम डील करेंगे वो ये चल पेपर 1 का मेंस का पेपर 1 इतना सब्जेक्ट होता है. पेपर 2 बाकी सब्जेक्ट पेपर 2 के. तो इसमें मोस्टली 4 सब्जेक्ट्स आते हैं. जैसे एक छोड़ के एनालॉग एंड डिजिटल इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स. This comes under paper 2 in maths and paper 2 also in prelims. This includes all the 12 subjects. So इससे भी 12 questions आते हैं, 12 MCQs आते हैं, precise. And questions were from like op-amp slew rate, non-inverting amplifier with feedback, 12-bit analog digital converter, conversion time, maximum conversion time, complex aim modulation index, L values for ideal circuit with the frequency cutoff frequency given, clock frequency of microcontroller, aim amplifier, unmodulated carrier power. Then Carson's bandwidth, using Carson's rule you find the bandwidth of FM, peak envelope power of suppressed carrier signal, open circuit noise voltage, then PCM, minimum channel minimum bandwidth, and minimum transmission bandwidth of PM or TDM. So basically mostly communication based, and somewhere from analog electrons as well, like op-amp slew rate, non-inverting amplifier, ADC, maximum conversion time. Most of them were, most of them questions were from communication. analog communication से ज़्यादा questions थे, क्योंकि और communication में कुछ questions थे जो हम लोग पढ़ते नहीं हैं, मतलब बहुत ही अलग तरह का था. complex के अंदर पढ़ते नहीं, बहुत कम पढ़ते हैं. या जो TDM PM है वो open circuit noise voltage, तो कोई ऐसा calculation based था वो, I think that was not solvable during the exam. Some may have guessed it, but solving it actually was very difficult. Peak envelope power, Carson's bandwidth हम पढ़ लेते हैं because so overall it also was tough in my opinion, because not even moderate, because some the topics which are not well like the aspirants are not well versed with the topics. The topics जिस क्वेश्चन आए थे न्यूमेरिकल हो गए, थ्योरी हो गए, दोनों से aspirants उतना अच्छे से पढ़ते नहीं हैं. तो अच्छा फेमिलियर नहीं होने के कारण थोड़ा सा टफ था मेरे हिसाब से। 12 वो तो 12 में से एटलीस्ट 5-6 क्वेश्चंस पीछे हो गए तो ठीक है, सही है, इट वाज गुड। कमिंग टू नेक्स्ट सब्जेक्ट, सिस्टम्स एंड सिग्नल प्रोसेसिंग। Signal systems actually name it, but in the ESE syllabus it's named signals and systems and signal processing. Okay. How many questions are there? 13 questions. Out of which 12 were MCQ and 1 was statement based. So ये भी I think was also on the easier side, easy to moderate. Let's first discuss the questions that were asked. Basically, time shifting of the inverse transform property, ut and delta t, step and impulse, unit impulse, relationship was asked, signal types, system properties like causal and all, or signal y equal to x of sin t, causal, time gradient and all those things. Conditions for even symmetry, Nyquist rate, Fourier transform of ut, it is the unit step function, sampled signal versions, the duality property used in Fourier transform, bilinear transformation, discrete time classification based on the difference equation given, convolution of a dt sequence, that is a bit typical e to the power minus 3n square or something like that. It was something unconventional. And in the state, these were MCQs. In the statement base, there was one question on depot stability, that was basic. So overall, this was also I think easy to moderate because some questions were not that easy to solve. Like the discrete time convolution one, e to the power 1 sequences there, you know, very difficult to actually eliminate the options and answer correctly. ऐसे तो सॉल्व होगा ही नहीं, वो ऑप्शन एलिमिनेशन कर सकते हैं लेकिन बहुत मुश्किल है। बाकी क्वेश्चंस में से ठीक ठाक था, मतलब इसमें से 13 में से 10 9-10 तो बन जाने से इजी टू मॉडरेट। दैट्स माय ओपिनियन। कमिंग टू नेक्स्ट सब्जेक्ट, अगला सब्जेक्ट बढ़ते हैं, वो सब्जेक्ट है शायद कंट्रोल सिस्टम्स। कंट्रोल सिस्टम से बेसिकली 12 क्वेश्चंस आए थे एंड ऑल ऑफ देम वर एमसीक्यूज, वेरी इजी एक्चुअली, वेरी बेसिक क्वेश्चंस वर बेसिकली फ्रॉम कंट्रोल सिस्टम्स। कंट्रोल सिस्टम से आया था आपका जैसे स्टेट कंट्रोलेबल, ऑब्जर्वेबल, ये सब आया था। देन रूट लोकस का ब्रेकअवे पॉइंट क्या है, एंड व्हाट आर 3 टाइप्स ऑफ सिस्टम वेरिएबल्स टू मॉडल सिस्टम डायनामिक्स, एंड स्टेट एरिया क्वेश्चंस वर देयर फॉर टाइप 2 सिस्टम्स, ट्रांसफर फंक्शन, KP, KV, all the error constants, and then for GS given, transfer function from the differential equation given, then steady equation for type 1, type 2, type 3 systems, parabolic input, Laplace transform the one function is given t to the power n, e to the power minus at, the characteristic equation roots based on the properties, stability determining, and phase margin one question is there. So basically, I think very standard questions, basic questions, आसान questions, easy. In my opinion, easy because the questions are very straightforward, no calculations, nothing. Means calculations are there, but they are very easy. State calculation, that is very easy. Formula based, nothing to think, nothing to guess or eliminate on the options. ऐसा कुछ क्वेश्चन नहीं था, बहुत आसान straightforward basic question था। मेरे हिसाब से कंट्रोल तो easy था और 12 में से कम से कम 10 ग्रेड सही होना ही चाहिए अच्छा स्कोर बूस्ट करने के लिए। नेक्स्ट कमिंग टू द लास्ट ईयर 4 सब्जेक्ट्स इन इलेक्ट्रिकल मशीन्स। इलेक्ट्रिकल मशीन से भी हमें क्वेश्चंस होते हैं 12 ऑल एमसीक्यू, इफ आई एम नॉट रॉन्ग। Yeah, questions were from auto transformer, then critical field resistance, and rotating field, magnetic field speed is called what? Synchronous speed, everyone knows. Voltage regulation, shunt generator, compound generator with series leading, shunt field, torque at which motor pulls out of synchronous, that is the breakaway torque, breakdown torque, slip speed of rotating machines, to stator flux. Then the armature current versus field current curve is what? V curve, or no, selling pole alternator question was there. Stepper motor, pulse rate, rotor teeth number for the given step angle. 2 questions were there on stepper motor. among the special machines. So basically questions were distributed अलग टॉपिक से था, ट्रांसफॉर्मर से था, डीसी मशीन से था, इंडक्शन से, सिंक्रोनस से, were distributed, and I think most of them were easy to tackle, very basic theories and some numericals, 3-4. So overall this was also easy to moderate because गेट के लिए गेट एस्पिरेंट्स अच्छे से पढ़ते हैं. गेट एस्पिरेंट्स do study this subject very well. This is one of the core subjects of electrical engineering. So looking from that perspective, the questions I think should have seemed easy as far as the candidates were prepared. So in my opinion, it was easily moderate. Under 12 MCQ. Coming to the last but once an ultimate subject, which is power systems. Also one of the 3 core subjects. Power systems, 14 questions came. Out of these 12 were MCQs and 2 were statement based. MCQs were easy, statement based questions were also easy. Power systems, basically questions came from basics only, like peak load power plants, SP, like specific rotational speed for wind turbine, that was not like studied generally. Steam plant, power plant, coal requirement, insulation resistance, one question was there, R1 R2 works. Supercritical steam power plant related question was there. Then fault power short circuit MVA, operating time of static relay, uniformly static relay. That's some formulas asked. What is the formulas? Uniformly loaded distribution, distributed good flexibility is the Riemann system, and reliability. 3-phase DC, 3-phase or 4-phase, 4-wire, 3-wire, 4-wire power. Load flow, one basic question was asked on the 3 statements very well. Based on the time, number of buses and Y bus and all. Then fixed and semi-fixed costs at energy. Basically, questions were distributed from transmission, distribution, generation, transmission, distribution, and I think power system fault analysis also. Fault analysis, then stability and all. These were MCQs, and the statement questions, there were 2 questions based on the capacitors versus the charging current, and another was voltage control and the reactive power, what is the relation between them, and another was from capacitance and versus the charging current. Capacitor compression was charging current, and another was from voltage and control and reactive power. Both were very basic, easy to answer. MCQs are also, I think, 60-70% easy. The rest will be calculated, that the insulation resistance and that DC 3-phase 3-wire or 4-wire power. It was a bit difficult to tackle, and some theory questions were a bit typical, like specific rotational speed formula and that operating time of static relay. So basically 50-60% could be answered easily statement in the MCQs, and all both the 2 were easy in statement based. So overall I would rate it moderate because 3-4 questions were not that easy, conventional. थोड़ा सा अलग तरह क्वेश्चन था तो हम लोग उतना पढ़ते नहीं हैं एक्सपीरियंस नेट के लिए और बाकी जो आप इंजीनियरिंग में करते हैं. तो power system was most vast subject in electrical engineering. So it was moderate in my opinion overall. Coming on to the next subject, the last is obviously the most feared subject. Though it is nothing such like that, but still there is such thoughts among there are such notions among the aspirants. Power electronics and drives. In that, questions will also be distributed, like we come from DID production, SCRs in series parallel combination to achieve a certain voltage and current rating, gating circuits, natural commutation, single phase full control rectifier, storage, charge in power diode, AC drives with current source, DC line rectifiers, supplying inverters and battery, resonant converters classification, DC-DC resonant converters, then power switches turned off at current zero, at what instant is turned off zero current zero, then DC-DC converters, conversion stages, DC to AC, AC to DC levels. So basically, 12 questions came, MCQs. Easy to moderate because out of them I think 9 to 10 questions could be answered. Even if the gate syllabus was covered properly, so कोई अगर gate syllabus अच्छे से cover भी जाता है तो 9 to 9 10 questions में बन जाना चाहिए. At least 8 से 9 तो बन ही जाना चाहिए. तो मेरे हिसाब से easy to moderate थे, questions direct थे, theory based थे, और जो numerical थे वो बहुत ही आसान थे, storage charge का और ये सब series parallel SCR combinations में. बाकी तो theory based था तो आसान था मेरे हिसाब से, तो easy to moderate in my opinion. So overall questions will be 12 plus 14, that is 26 plus 12, 30, 30 plus 12, 50, 50 plus 13 is 63, 60 plus 12 is 75, 75 plus 12 is 87, 87 plus 13 is 100, 100 plus 12 is 112, 112 plus 12 is 124, 112 plus 12, 14 is 130, 130 plus 12 is 150, 150 questions of 300 marks. As I mentioned above, 2 marks is total numeric marking. So overall difficulty, sorry here. Overall difficulty overall difficulty for this paper, I would say easy to moderate, because only 2 subjects were tough in my opinion. Many were easy, as you can see. Some were moderate, some were easy to moderate. So overall difficulty easy to moderate, a bit easier than other years I felt, like 2023 or 2024, and as this time railways has been introduced diagrams. So anyway the competition is already more, बहुत पहले से ज़्यादा है, तो थोड़ा easy to moderate होने से और ज़्यादा इसमें मतलब स्कोरिंग का ट्रेंड बढ़ जाता है. So good score in my opinion this paper will be around 180 to 190 plus. Looking at the difficulty of subjects and the overall difficulty and the competition in this ESE 225. So a good score in my opinion, 80 to 190 plus out of 300 in this technical paper 2. And even if you are scoring say 170, 180, don't be disheartened. You may have already got the call for mains, and your paper 1 score is good enough, then you have good chances to qualify. And you should focus on more mains preparation now. तो मेरे हिसाब से ये था this is the analysis of the paper 2 electrical engineering of UPSC ESE 2025 exam, that is conducted on 8 June